Sonic Frontiers was released on November 8th, 2022 for the PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, the Switch, PlayStation 4, and 5. This is played on the PlayStation 5 version, and usually I'm very skeptical about Sonic games, but this time it's pretty cool. Like everything else Sonic related, the story involves around Dr. Eggman and his devious plots. In Sonic Frontiers, Eggman is trying to steal ancient technology from Starfire Islands that were created by a species known as the Ancients. However, when he uploads Sage's AI to the Starfall Islands, robots spring up to defend the island. And this is basically where the course of the game starts. Because Sonic, Tails, Amy, and even Knuckles all show up to try to investigate what Eggman is doing and to try to stop his evil plot. Knowing how Sonic games typically tend to go, Sonic crashes and now he becomes stranded on the Starfall Islands as he must try to find a way out to rescue his friends, take down Robotnik, and even learn more about the islands themselves. You do become well acquainted with Sage, the AI, over the course of this game, and she even becomes an ally and begins helping you. Sonic Frontiers takes place on the Starfall Islands, which give you 5 different islands to explore. This game has open world sections, making it a franchise first. 4 of the 5 islands contain a ton of content like challenges, side missions, collectibles, etc. Whereas one of the islands is more of just kind of like a story kind of island where you stay there for about 15 minutes, but there's nothing to do after that. So once Sonic awakens on Starfall Island, he is thrusted into this open world, and you can run around and explore. There's all these rails hanging around, all the bumpers, and I found a lot of enjoyment in just kind of running around, just completing all the various different activities. There's a lot of platforming sections which do lead to collectibles such as the memory token which each character has. And a lot of times in this game I find myself becoming quite enthralled by just the beauty of it all. Usually the goal is to collect vault keys which will help you to get all the Chaos Emeralds. Each island essentially has the same goal, collect all the Chaos Emeralds. In order to collect vault keys, you need to actually go through the portals, which bring you into the cyberspace levels. The cyberspace levels are more of a traditional, modern Sonic level. If you've played Sonic Colors, Sonic Forces, etc., you'll know what these levels are. These are basically your average, modern Sonic 3D levels. These are pretty cool. I mean, obviously they pay homage to like Green Hill Zone, they pay homage to like Chemical Plant Zone, some of the classic Sonic games. But this basically just feels like Sonic Forces. Obviously, the open world sections are way cooler, but this has all the usual stuff like the red rings and what you'd expect modern Sonic games to have. Square to do everything, and also a ranking system. Of course, this game does have a ranking system. It wants you to defeat the level, or I guess I should say complete the level as fast as you can, collect a certain number of rings, etc., collect all the red rings. And by you completing these challenges, each level basically has exactly the same challenges. You can unlock vault rings, vault keys, and those keys can help you to unlock the Chaos Emeralds, which is what you need to progress through the story with. These levels are pretty fun to play through once and then maybe just to get all the challenges, but a couple of these levels are quite strict in terms of the time. And look at this, the old Chemical Plant Zone platforming is here. Honestly though, the Cyberspace Sonic levels are pretty cool, but the open world sections are way cooler. Like that's really all you want to do. Thankfully, you don't need to 100% everything in this game in terms of the cyberspace levels to progress, just simply enough to get all the vault keys. You'll also run across like Ares Island, which is a very sandy desert type biome. And then you'll go into parts like Chaos Island, which is very, very volcanic, has lots of hills and I should say craters and mountains, a lot of lava. So this one is the hardest to navigate, but it lives up to the name Chaos Island. But as you see, this game can be very, very pretty at certain points. Each island contains different things to collect, such as the gear pieces, which help you unlock the portals, the memory tokens, which help you to progress through the story, as well as the side missions. Each character has a different one. For example, Amy has a heart, Tails has a wrench, etc. Then we have the Cocos. These are the native of the Starfall Islands. And the Cocos can be delivered to an Elder, and you can increase Sonic stats. I believe the speed stats are what the Coco help to increase. But also, you can find these things from defeating enemies, from digging them up from the ground with a Psyloop, etc., completing activities, completing some of the platforming sections. And some enemies even drop like health and shield tokens whenever you defeat them, and you can deliver those to another island native. You also have the music tokens, which can be collected, and that helps you to unlock a new song that you can use to play at any time. You can change the music by pressing right on the D-pad. So, there's also purple tokens. The purple tokens are basically used for the fishing sections of this game. The fishing tokens allow you to fish, and fishing becomes quite an important part of the game later, especially if you're looking to farm a particular collectible, such as the cocos here. One of my favorite parts of this game is seeing all the coco congregating in front of you if you stay idle for a while. It's pretty cool. But as I said, delivering these to the elders can help you to level up Sonic. Anytime you find an elder, you can deliver the Cocos to them, and you can choose to either upgrade your speed or ring capacity. And that's very, very cool as well. So you also get other stuff that you can help to turn in to another guy. And this will increase Sonic's defense and attack power, meaning that Sonic will be able to lose less health and to dish out more damage, making combat a lot easier. The memory tokens are basically used just to speak to each character and advance their side stories. For example, wrenches are for tails, and then Amy will have hearts. However, they all function the same way despite looking different. Each character has their own island, and as I said, these are side stories which help to flesh out the game a little bit. And Sage, he even has some towards the end of the game, but that gets into spoiler territory. Each island also contains missions, so you can do your best Stephen Curry impression if you would like to. And completing these missions allow you to reveal parts of the map, and also reveals every activity that is near that point. And the missions in this game are very, very simple. They're not hard at all, and they range from simple stuff such as sidestepping, collecting a floating orb, putting the ball through the hoops, or even just going through a floor pattern. But the missions in this game are quite fun, and as I said, there's a good variety of it, or as in this case, damaging an enemy as much as you can, and the time limit. And these help to just kind of give you something to do to reveal the map that shows all the activities. And I do think it is necessary to reveal everything on the map first, but it's a pretty decent mechanic. And there's even this Tetris one, which I thought was nice. Well, it's not exactly Tetris per se. Completing the missions also unlocks this giant rail that goes all the way across the map, which essentially functions as a fast travel mechanic, but it does make traversal a lot easier. From time to time, whenever the sun sets and the night falls, then you will have what is called a starfall in this game, and basically stars fall from the sky and you can collect them, and that just helps you to get more fishing tokens or cocos or whatever. This game also does have a skill tree, but this game is very, very abundant in terms of how much EXP you have, so Sonic can level up very, very quickly with different abilities. Getting into some of the enemies now. The enemies have a good variety, such as this one who steals one of your Chaos Emeralds and forces you to chase him. The enemies all force you to do something different to defeat them. For example, for this one you have to use the Super Stomp to break through, I guess, the bag or whatever it is. This one you have to use your homing attack, but the enemies are kind of varied. You have to do different things to defeat them, like parry these werewolves here because they always act in packs. But each map, give or take, has the same maybe 4 to 5 different enemies. So it is worthwhile to defeat them because you do get some of the collectibles like memory tokens, the XP points, the gears, the vault keys, or whatever. But there's a good amount of variety, but they're exclusive to certain islands, so they kind of get boring after a while. But this game also has guardians, and these guardians basically act as sub-bosses. Each island has its own unique collection of 6 or 7 guardians, similar with the enemies, and there's a very good variety. A lot of these fights were very, very interesting because, as I said, you basically have to do different things to defeat them. And the shark here is probably my favorite on the Ares Island map. This one was just very cool because you have to hold on, dodge all the obstacles, and then defeat him whenever it's done. So I thought the Guardians were pretty cool, but as I said, there's not much of a variety. This one was also very, very cool too. The caterpillar, I believe it was, just staring at you off in the distance. But now we get into the real stuff, the exciting stuff, what you play Sonic games to do. Fish. So you meet Big at the fishing spots and you go there and you fish, catching things like a tire, or even collecting scrolls, which basically just allow you to fast travel to different points. I thought the fishing in this game was quite cool, and of course there is an incentive to fish because you can actually collect fishing tokens each time you catch something, or collecting gold cards. The gold cards and the fishing tokens allow you to trade for other items, such as the memory tokens, the vault keys, just anything you need collectible-wise, including the cocos. So you can use this fishing stuff to level up Sonic. So now we get into the boss fights, and I thought the boss fights were pretty cool, such as this one, like a Shadow of the Colossus type thing. You had to scale the boss and collect the Chaos Emerald on the top of his head. The bosses in this game are referred to as Titans, and the Titan boss fights are probably the coolest portions of these games. You get a Titan fight at the end of each island, like once you get to the end of the story, and Sonic collects all the Chaos Emeralds, of course, allowing him to turn into Super Sonic, and then you have this big cinematic battle with some pretty awesome music playing in the background. If there's one thing Sonic games have always been known for, it's having really, really good music, and Sonic Frontiers, thankfully, is no exception. The bosses are the big set pieces, the big dramatic battles, and it's really, really cool just to see Super Sonic taking on these monolithic beasts. I guess they're technically robots, but like whatever. Some of these sections do have like quick time events or sections you have to mash a button, but the bosses are very, very cool in this game, and I was definitely entertained. But just a tip, collect as many rings as you can before you start these fights so you don't have 90 seconds like I did there. Overall, Sonic Frontiers is a great game. This game is very enjoyable, and I enjoyed playing it. I liked this game a lot. I really loved playing it. I thought it was very fun. However, most of my enjoyment just kind of came from exploring the islands and just doing all the various things that were laid about. But the boss fights are really cool. The music is cool. I think the story is really great and it's really interesting. Overall, Sonic Frontiers is a great game, and I really sincerely hope Sonic games in the future will be like this. Overall, Sonic Frontiers, in my opinion, is an 8 out of 10. This game is great. Sega, please keep doing this for Sonic, alright? Please.